You haven't started the live.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Let's continue our study of chapter 9. Before that, let's take a moment and just do our prayers for the entire world. The situation in India and some other countries are really bad because I am hearing a lot of news. As Bhuvanaji said, Swami Omkaranandaji passed away the other day. And there are a lot of people because last time it was not this much, but this time I heard a lot of people passing away, and we need to send our good thoughts and prayers, and please support the relief work in whatever way you can through whatever means you believe in. But it's very important that we are sensitive to the situation and just pray that the situation will go away. Bhunaji, I know that you are not feeling well, but if you could just chant Mrityunjay mantra one time, that would be it will send a high positive energy, and it'll be a healing prayer.
Om Trayambagam Yajamage Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritad.
Thank you. In one of these sessions, Vedanta session, I'll try to explain the meaning of this mantra. And
actually, you did that in Rudram class very nicely. You brought the cucumbers example, right?
Yeah, this mantra is very relevant. It is such a powerful mantra. One of the Vedanta class, I will try to explain the meaning. Okay, so now let's come back to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9. And as I said, like chapter 7 and chapter 9 are really wonderful chapters. The reason is, as you know, the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita is mainly focusing on the individual, the Atma. But chapter 6 to chapter 12 is revealing Ishvara. I often wonder how abstract the idea of Ishvara was, or the God was for each one of us. And these 2 chapters bring Ishvara pretty much close to us. Please think about this. When I was a child, who was Ishvara for me? Each one of you think, right? When I was child, or I was in a childish mode, even grown-up people are like that. Their understanding of Ishvara, or my understanding of Ishvara, was very childish. Often I think, when I was in India, suppose you want to achieve something. Of course, your merit is there. But along with your merit, you always try to find a politician or some influential person to get things done, isn't it? Whether it is for a job, or for a college admission, or for anything. Whatever you want to do, the first thing you do is, okay, I know this guy. This guy is an MLA or MP. And yes, if the MLA happens to be your friend or cousin or uncle, then the matter will get done. Please think. For most of us, Ishvara is like that. Ishvara or the God, people say that I fear of God. Why? Because Ishvara can be a potential obstacle, or without pleasing Ishvara, without pleasing that MLA, you won't get that job. Without pleasing your teacher, you may not get your internal mark. Without pleasing X, Y, or Z, certain things won't be done more than your merit or equally to your merit. This is also a factor. So a lot of people think about God as somebody sitting above the skies who has the power to get things done, or who has the power to block things, and I propitiate him, or I appease him, or I go after him for my selfish motive. Sometimes, means I'm not saying that it is selfish always, but for my desires. This is the understanding, and this is the relationship with God. Am I true? Go to the temple and listen to the prayers. This is what everybody hear. So, as a child, we had a childish understanding of God. We had a childish understanding of the world. We had a childish understanding of almost everything around us. But as we grow, usually the childish understanding on the world, the childish understanding of the other things improves. Right? Because when you study science, your childish feelings goes away. Right? But think about most of the people, including ourselves, understanding of Ishvara. I don't put any effort, or I don't go in detail, try to understand Ishvara. So what happens? My relationship or my understanding of the God remains childish. It remains only as transactional. I'm not saying that there is nothing wrong in that, but don't you want to improve? And there is nothing in the scriptural literature compared to this chapter explains the nature of the God better than this. Certainly you will see the same description in all the scriptures. If you go to Bible, Quran, or any scripture, you see this. But this chapter condenses the nature of the God extremely clear. So that is what we are going to see. So this is a continuation of kind of chapter 7, because chapter 8 was a detour or a deviation from the main path. You took an exit, you go to somewhere because you wanted to see something for an academic purpose. What is Krama Mukti and the nature of that, and you came back. Now you're back into that track. So this chapter 7 and chapter 9 needs to be studied, contemplated, discussed, and clarified for having a strong understanding or a clear understanding of God. So please take your time. This chapter is so important, especially from verse 4 to 9 we are going to see. Please pay clear attention and have any number of discussion. We can have even of one day, we can just discuss into and clarify any questions. But when we study this chapter, please make sure that at least this group has a clear clarity of who is God. It's so beautiful. There is nothing in the scriptural world which can be compared to even this. That beautiful it is. So let's try to see. Before I go to the verses, actually, this week is the birthday week of Swami Chinmayananda. You know that, right? It's 105th birthday. Swami Chinmayananda is somebody who brought this Gita into the masses. Before that, Gita was a mystery. People used to worship Gita, but nobody dared to touch Gita and explain Gita in an English language with modern example. So he, in 1950s, he foresee this and he started his great Jnana Yajna. So we all have to be thankful to Swami Chinmayananda. Without him, his initiative, I'm 100% sure that I won't be sitting here and studying Gita, because his lectures inspired all of us. So associated with his birthday week, Chinmaya Mission is doing a virtual Gita Yajna. And no surprise, the chapter they selected is chapter 7. So you can see that in YouTube. Every day his talk, a video of his talk is posted. Entire chapter 7. I would strongly request all of you to listen to that great master. This is a lecture recorded in 1981 in New York. So audio quality, video quality, everything you may have to compromise, because at that point of time, the technology was not this good. So, but master is master. He's brilliant. So with that, we can get started. Anybody watched that video in YouTube?
Yeah, Rajesh, I did. And it's amazing, actually.
Excellent. And this is chapter 7, Sanjay ji.
Yes, yep, absolutely. And like the way he was going, you just don't, I mean, like you will be eager to wait for the next video to publish, actually. It's like that.
Mind you, it was 40 years back.
Yep.
So even a lecture given in 40 years back, remember the social circumstances are different, the situation is different, the character and settings are completely different, but still he could make it very interesting.
This is on the Chinmaya Vrindavan website?
No, actually it's
No.
a YouTube Chinmaya channel.
Yeah, I'll share that.
If you don't mind, could you post the link of that?
I will post it.
Excellent, thank you. So chapter 7 and chapter 9, one has to study to understand God. And Swami Dayananda, another teacher of mine, probably the best teacher I have ever seen on Advaita Vedanta. These two combination, Swami Chinmayananda was made for the public. If somebody had to be introduced to Gita, no doubt it is Swami Chinmayananda. But if somebody wants to study the Vedanta in detail, it was Swami Chinmayananda. So this combination was perfect. One was for the detailed study, the other one was for the initial introduction of the Gita. So Swami Dayananda used to say, Ishvara, means it's not that you should be believing in Ishvara. Ishvara needs to be not believed in, but to be understood. That's very important. And this chapter is going to help us to understand Ishvara. You say that you want to love God. They say God is love and love God. Tell me, can you love somebody? Why do you love your child? Because you know your child. You know that it is your child. How can you love somebody without knowing him? Can you love an unknown person without knowing his character? Okay, you can love, say, you may love Mother Teresa. You may love Swami Chinmayananda? Yes, because why? I know them, right? So one person like Nelson Mandela you may love, or so many people you love. Why? Because you know them. Without knowing somebody, you cannot love them, honestly. So if you want to love God, please try to understand God. Without that, you cannot love. Otherwise, what exactly you love? I love my end goal. What is that end goal? Promotion, curing diseases, marriage, or admission. All those would be my end goal. And the God becomes what? A means. Exactly. So with that, let's chant. I know if you don't mind, please chant verses 1 to 4.
ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ नवमोऽध्यायः। राजविद्या राजगुह्ययोगः। श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं तु ते गुह्यतमं प्रवक्ष्याम्यनसूयवे ज्ञानं विज्ञानसहितं यज्ञात्वा मोक्ष्यसे शुभात्। राजविद्या राजगुह्यं पवित्रमिदमुत्तमं प्रत्यक्षावगमं धर्म्यं सुसुखं कर्तुमव्ययम्। अश्रद्धानाः पुरुषाः धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि। मया ततमिदं सर्वं जगदव्यक्तमूर्तिना मत्स्थानि सर्वभूतानि न चाहं तेष्वस्थितः न च मत्स्थानि भूतानि पश्य मे योगमैश्वरम्। भूतभृन्न च भूतस्थः ममात्मा भूतभावनः।
Beautiful. So this chapter, please contemplate upon every verse we talk. So last week we saw the first verse. So Krishna, one difference is chapter 7 and chapter 9, without a question from Arjuna, Krishna was eager to give this knowledge. Krishna was trying to say, know me. So he said, idam tu te guhyatamam pravachyam anasuyave. I am going to teach you very clearly this knowledge. And what is the nature of this knowledge? Guhyatamam. We spend a lot of time. Guhyatamam means it is secret. So we spend some time understanding. It is not that this should not be taught to anybody, or this should not be hidden from anybody. And what is the great secret? Do you remember? Even though everybody see that, nobody get it. You see the world completely, but you fail to see the reality behind the world. So that's what Guhyatamam. And this teaching is given to Arjuna or to all of us because we are qualified students. And that was indicated by the word Anasuyavi. Asuya is what? We saw that. You try to find fault without reasoning. Right? So you find some fault. So that is one reason why a lot of people don't understand the scriptures. You have to approach the scripture with an open mind. That doesn't mean that you should be questioning. That doesn't mean that you should not be challenging. No, but you have to go there with an open heart. So that faith in the words of the scripture and master, not blind faith, but positive faith. That's it. Idam tu te guhyatamam pravachyam anasuyavi. And how am I going to give you? Jnanam vijnana sahitam. I'm going to give you the theoretic, means the knowledge, theory, as well as the practical experience. And what is the benefit of studying this knowledge? Yat jnatva, having known, mokshase ashubha. It will free you from all type of ashubha. Shubha means good things. Ashubha means bad things, not so good things. So it will free you from all the problem. So this was the promise given. So with that, let's try to see the next verse. So once again, great job by our team. They put all these details there. So Jeena, Sanjay ji, Rajesh ji, Ornab ji, everybody did this. Rohit ji. A lot of people contributed to this. This came out really well. So Anu, could you please chant?
rājavidyā rājaguhyaṅ pavitramidamuttamam pratyakṣāvagamaṅ dharmyaṅ susukhaṅ kartumavyayam.
So verse 2 and 3, he's going to talk about the nature of this knowledge, right? So he tells rājavidyā, this is the royal knowledge. And rājaguhyaṅ, it is the supreme secret. Pavitram, what is pavitram? Purifier. Idam, this knowledge. So this knowledge is rājavidyā, it is the royal knowledge, and it is the royal secret, and it is the most purifier, and it is the best. Uttamam pavitram, it is the highest purifier. It is the supreme purifier. Pratyakṣāvagamaṅ. So, like, it can be experienced directly. It is not that somebody will say something, experienced directly. Then dharmyaṅ, it is in line with dharma. Susukhaṅ kartum, so you can practice this easily. It's not that very difficult. And avyayam, avyayam means imperishable. So that is the literal meaning. So now let's go to the detailed meaning. So Krishna tells, he just said, I'm going to teach you this knowledge, which I started in the 7th chapter. And now I am continuing. What is the nature of this knowledge I'm teaching? And he said, rājavidyā. Rājavidyā. Why this is called as rājavidyā? So Shankaracharya gives a beautiful interpretation. He tells, every other citizen, every other person of the country is dependent upon somebody else. So every other knowledge dependent upon some other knowledge. So when you say rājavidyā, this knowledge doesn't dependent upon anything else, because this is the highest knowledge. That is what the meaning of rājavidyā here. So the highest knowledge. So Mundaka Upanishad tells, kasminne vijñāto sarvamidam vijñādam bhavati, by knowing which everything else is known. So this is the highest knowledge. Why? What is the first thing we want to understand?
Ourselves.
Exactly. Without understanding ourselves, if you understand everything else, it is useless. So this knowledge is going to help you to understand yourself. And it is the most primordial or the fundamental knowledge. So that is why it is known as rājavidyā. And rājaguhyaṅ, it is the supreme secret. We chanted one verse of Bhagavad Gita. This knowledge, it's available to everybody. But some people listen this as a wonder. Some people hear this as a, speak about this as a wonder. Some people teach this and try to understand this as a wonder. But the greatest wonder is what? None of them understood this. This is a subtle joke by Krishna himself in the 2nd chapter. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschitena. So some people talk about this as a wonder. Some people think that they understood it. They may understand everything else, but this is not easy to understand. So in spite of readily available, freely available, everywhere it is there, it remains as a secret. You see the world. You see the sunlight. You see the plant. You see when you eat food, it getting digested. You see how the human body functions. But you never recognize Ishvara there. So in spite of him available 24/7, his presence can be felt and experienced by everybody. But he remains as a secret. That's why Vivekananda asked Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Do you remember what was that famous question? Have you seen God? What was the answer? I saw him as clear as I see him. See you. I'm seeing him as clear as I see you. So that's what you need to understand. This is what is the secret. So even though it is available for your perception, inference, everything, it remains as a secret. So rājavidyā, rājaguhyaṅ, uttamam pavitram. Pavitram means purifier. There are so many purifiers in the world, right from the hand sanitizer to detergents, and fire is considered as a purifier. That's why the one name of fire is what? Pavaka. Pavaka and pavitram, all that came from the same root, purifier. Right? You can boil something and actually when you heat it up, it becomes pure. So that is why the fire was given the name pavitram, pavaka. So everything, every other purifier in the world cannot purify, it cannot destroy the bondage of karma. This is how Shankaracharya explains. So this knowledge can destroy or make you free. It can free you completely. It can purify you completely. Not even your mind, not just the mind, but even from the sanchita karma. Not the prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is there. Means as long as you born, it's already happened. But even from the sanchita karma, it will purify you. So that's why it's known as uttamam pavitram, the highest purifier. There is no better purifier than this knowledge. In the 4th chapter of Gita, there is a verse. Nahi jnanena sadrishyam. Anybody know that verse? Pavitram idam uttamam. There is no purifier like knowledge. See, what is the problem with the other purifier? Water is a purifier. Suppose you go to a clean water, it may purify the external dirt. But what is the problem? After your bath, if you get into dirt, there is a possibility of getting dirty again. So it can purify at a particular level, at a particular point of time. That doesn't give you any guarantee that you won't get dirt. But, and the meditation can clean your mind, or the karma yoga can clean your mind. But you can always go back. But once you know this knowledge, once you establish in the true self, there is no going back. Remember one verse in Gita, 2nd chapter, final verse. Esham brahmi sthiti partha, nainam prapya na vimuhyati. So once you get in there, there is no going back. So it will keep you purified always. Once you purified, it will keep you purified always. No other purifier has this skill. And that is why Krishna called this knowledge as uttamam pavitram. So rājavidyā, rājaguhyaṅ, uttamam pavitram. And what is the nature of this knowledge? Suppose I explain you that there is a place called Vaikuntha, or there is a place called Kailasha, or there is a place called heaven. And Vaikuntha, you start explaining all these details, right? Means Rājavidyā will be staying there. You enter into the ocean, Milky Ocean, and there is a serpent lying there. Vishnu will be there. Is that your experience, or is that only a theoretical knowledge? It's only a theoretical knowledge. Now, I hope that after death, I may reach there. That's it. Even the description of heaven given in Hindu Puranas or even in the other scriptures, it's all theoretical explanation. There is no way for you to directly experience it. But whereas this knowledge has the potential to give you that experience here and now. And that's why Krishna said, forget about krama mukti. You can do that here now, here and now. Pratyakṣāvagamaṅ. You can, it will be intuitive experience. It is a direct experience. It is aparokṣānubhūti. It is direct experience with truth. Para aksha anubhūti. Para means other. Aksha means other's eye. That means it is described by somebody else. Apara aksha means not through others' eye. I see this myself. I'm not believing Krishna's words. I'm not believing somebody else's words. I'm not believing Krishna. Like if Krishna said that, okay, you believe me, I'll take you to heaven. No, he won't say that. So you yourself can follow this teaching. You yourself can experience this here and now. Pratyakṣāvagamaṅ. And then he said, dharmyaṅ. This is in line with dharma. So please be careful. Means our translation is good, but in some of the translation they talk about duty. This is not duty. This is that's where the context sensitivity comes into the picture. Dharmam. What is dharma? It is the natural order of the universe. Dharyate iti dharmaha. This is the definition of dharma. Dharyate iti dharmaha. Right? That which sustain, that which carries. So what carries the property of water? Wetness. Right? What makes sugar sugar? Sweetness. If it is not sweet, you cannot call it as a sugar. What is the characteristics of electric light? Light. So that is the dharma. And That means it is the natural order of a substance. So this dharma is applicable to everywhere. Your body has a dharma. I would say the operating conditions, right? Operating conditions or the operating principles. The car has a dharma. If you don't follow that dharma, it's not correct. So as a human being, I have some dharma. And that is what is Veda Akhilo Dharma Moolam. The entire principle, if you can condense the entire teachings of the Veda into one line, it says, Vedo Khilo Dharma Moolam. It is the root of the dharma. The root of the entire Vedic teaching is dharma. Doing what needs to be done. It at the physical level, at the psychological level, at the social level, at all level. So this teaching is aligned with that dharma. So Krishna said, I'm not inventing this teaching. This teaching is aligned with the natural order of the universe. So there's nothing wrong in that. Pratyakṣāvagamaṅ dharmyaṅ. Then what is that? So now he praised all these great things about this. So naturally, what would be my conclusion?
Difficult to practice.
Very difficult to practice. And he tells, no, this is easy to practice. It is not that difficult. Susukhaṅ. It's easily you can practice this teaching. Whereas the Krama Mukti and all, is it easy? Remember? What you have to do? You have to practice the highest level of meditation. Bring your prana. Exit the prana through the Brahma Granthi. It's not easy. Whereas this teaching, which leads you to Jivan Mukti, is pretty easy. Commentators tells why that word is specifically added is because he wanted to differentiate this from the teachings of Krama Mukti. So Krishna's preference is this. It's easily practicable. Remember the Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga. That's it. And this Jnana Yoga is not very complicated. Till you understand it, it is a mystery. But if you understand it, it's very simple. So that's the essence of the second verse. So let's chant that once again. Anu, could you chant this once again?
rājavidyā rājaguhyaṅ pavitramidamuttamam pratyakṣāvagamaṅ dharmyaṅ susukhaṅ kartumavyayam.
I forgot to talk about one word. And what is the nature of this knowledge? Avyayam. Avyayam means what? Vyayam means perishable, changing. Avyayam means not changing. This knowledge will remain as true always. So, what is the nature of this knowledge I am teaching? It is the knowledge, supreme knowledge, a knowledge that is not dependent upon anything. And it is, even though it is directly available, a lot of people don't understand it. And it is the most purifier. And it can be, this knowledge, typically some of these knowledge are paroksha anubhuti, but this knowledge is aparoksha anubhuti. It can be directly brought into your experience. And this is in line with dharma. And it is easily practicable, not very difficult to practice. And finally, and this teaching is imperishable. Got it, right? Is there any word that is confusing? Now, when you listen to the chanting, Contemplate upon the meaning. This is the technique. Honestly speaking, this is one of the meditation I personally uses very effectively. Listen to the chanting and contemplate upon the meaning. Rājavidyā, rājaguhyaṅ. So when you hear the word rājavidyā, just feel the meaning. So when you feel the meaning, because right now I try to explain all the words, not the literal meaning, but the actual implied meaning we try to explain. So now with this explanation, with your study, I would say your own understanding of the verse, try to contemplate. It makes a huge difference.
Rajeshji, I need a little more affirmation on that pratyakṣāvagamaṅ. That's what I want to know. Realizable by direct intuitional knowledge, right? Can you just say that again one more time?
Yeah, because some knowledge, as I said, like suppose I talk about, say, Gangotri right now. I can very well explain Gangotri through my words. Correct? I can say that you go to Rishikesh, you go to Uttarkashi, you climb, or when you reach this Gangotri, you can see a beautiful temple of Ganga Mata, and it is a white marble paved temple. And on the side of that, if you go down, you see the Ganga flowing, and there is a waterfall there. All I can explain. Definitely, it gives you some knowledge. What is that knowledge? You know that, okay, there is a place called Gangotri, there is a temple there. All that is a knowledge. That's also a knowledge.
Now, I wanted to understand related to this knowledge.
Yeah. So that's what I'm telling, right? So, but that is one knowledge. That is called para aksha anubhuti.
Okay.
So it is, you understand through my words, or you understand some of this knowledge through books. Now, you can also, suppose you go to Gangotri and see Ganga. That means whatever I described, you are seeing through your own eyes. Now, same thing here. You talk about the fact that I am Atma. Right now, that knowledge is given to you. But is that your experience? No. Right now, it's only a theoretical knowledge for me. But when I do this Vedantic practice, which is Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, what happens? I shift my identity from being a body, mind, sense complex to the Atma. I see myself as Atma, and I see that Atma everywhere. This is the direct experience of all self-realized master. So right now, this knowledge, this Atma Jnana, this knowledge is given to you in a theory form. That is why in the previous verse he said, Jnanam teham savijnanam. Right now it's only Jnanam. But that will become a Vijnanam once you do these practices, right? So once you have the pure mind, stable mind with Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, and after that, when you do the Shravana Manana Nididhyasanam, the Vedanta becomes a means, and you will see the truth, and that will be your direct experience. So pratyakṣāvagamaṅ. So it is, pratyaksha means direct. It is in front of you. That knowledge is your experience. No more you will identify yourself as a body. When you say you see yourself as Atma. So take the example of Swapna Drishtanta. When the dream becomes lucid dream, right? So you know that you are the waker, even though you are in the dream world. Just like that, you see that by yourself. That is what is pratyakṣāvagamaṅ. So right now, in our current state, it is not at pratyakṣāvagamaṅ. It is parokṣānubhuti. But when you put effort, you will be able to see that. And is that effort very complicated? Absolutely not. You don't have to do any complicated sadhanas. These simple sadhanas will take you to the destination. Is that easy? It's not going to be very easy, but the practices are not very difficult. Any other comments? Any other words? Okay. So let's go to the next verse. Anu, could you please chant?
अश्रद्धधानाः पुरुषाः धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि.
Again, so what happens if I don't know this knowledge, or if I don't have faith in this knowledge? He tells Ashrattadhana Purushaha. So Ashrattadhana, Shraddha means faith. Ashraddha means what? People without faith. So I don't trust it. I just try to find fault. Such people. I don't have faith, so I don't put enough effort. I don't have that faith in this teaching. Such people, Purushaha means men, or it's not just, you can say that Purusha and Stri there. It is human. So Ashratthatama Purushaha. Of what? Dharmasya, this teaching, this dharma, this natural rule of the universe. What is that natural order of the universe? You are the Atma, not the body, and this Atma is all pervading. So the people who do not believe in this dharma, dharma means of your Atma. Dharmasya, asya dharmasya, ashrattadhana purushaha. So the person or the people who do not believe in this dharma, parantapa. Parantapa means the scorcher of enemies. So remember, Vyasa is very subtle. We'll go to the deep meaning, but parantapa means scorcher of enemy, O Arjuna. Aprapyamam nivartanti. So they won't reach me, or they won't know the truth. They won't know the Ishvara. And without knowing the Ishvara, what is the side of or the problem? Mrityu samsara varmani. So they will stay, or they will be always stay in this world of samsara. So this world means the life of death and birth. So let's try to understand a little bit more. So Ash means what type of people? The first category of the people who have faith, who have anasuya, who are ready to put effort, and who follow this teaching carefully, they will come to me and they will be freed from all the problems. Whereas the people who do not have faith, who don't follow this teaching, what this means, ashrattatama purushaha dharmasyasya parantapaha. The people who do not have faith in this teaching, what happens to them? Aprapyamam nivartante. They never come to know Ishvara. That is not the problem alone, right? They will not come to Ishvara and they will not know themselves. And as a result, what is going to happen? They will be always caught up in this world of karma. Mrityu samsara vartani. So what happens is they will always have birth, death, and it will be a continuous cycle. They will be caught in this web of karma. Chapter 8 brilliantly talked about that, right? This punaravartino. Like even if you go to Brahmaloka, you will have to come back. You will have birth, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jadhare shayanam. So Shankaracharya tells in his Bhaja Govindam, you born, then you die. Then you born, then you die. So if you just think about that as reborn, you may feel good, but understand that you die and die and die and die. Think about that. Swami Dayananda ji used to say that. So, and also Swami Chimayananda gave this example, brilliant example. I love it. So you may think that, okay, I love this world. But think about this as getting into a merry-go-round. But when to get in and when to get out. You have no choice. You just go there for some time, not per your decision. Even if you feel hungry, you cannot go out. Even if you want to go to restroom, you cannot go out. Even if you're sleepy, you cannot go out. You're forced there. The choice is not in our hand. So this birth and death cycle, you will be indefinitely caught up in this birth and death. And you think that this would be a great life, you will have a lot of problem. See, this is the two snapshot he has given. One snapshot, those who follow this teaching, what is going to happen? And those who do not follow this teaching, what is going to happen? So having said that, he's going to the core teaching. The next 5 verses, please pay your entire attention. This is marvelous verses. So at least we'll start seeing the verses and then we'll have to continue. So let's listen to verse 4.
Maya tatamidam sarvam jagavyaktamurtina matsthani sarvabhutani nachaham teshvavasthitaha.
We'll see the literal meaning today. If you study these 5 or 6 verses, 5 verses, you will understand God. So we will try to do it in a very systematic way. So let's try to see the meaning. Maya means by me. Tadam idam. Tadam means pervaded. But idam sarvam. This entire universe is pervaded by me. Why? Jagata avyakta murtinaha. So in my unmanifest form, I pervade the entire universe. This needs a lot of explanation. We will come back to this. So maya stadamidam sarvam jagataha avyakta murtinaha. So by the entire world is pervaded by me in its unmanifested form. Mastani sarvabhutani. All the beings, everything in the universe are dependent upon me. Everything in the universe is dependent upon me or exists in me. But he make one clarification. Nachaham te avastitaha. Teshu avastitaha. But I do not depend on any of them. Very cryptic words. We need to understand this in detail, but it's Vedanta in its highest form. So we need to understand this in detail. So we can start one topic and we need to understand a few topics to understand this topic very clearly. So think about this in a very, means we have to take a few example and understand that. So when we studied chapter 7, we studied something, right? There are 2 aspects of Ishvara. In simple English term, we call it as transcendental, and what is the other aspect? Immanent. Correct? Transcendental and immanent. This is what the 2 aspects of Ishvara. To make this point clear, at that time, we borrowed the teachings of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya explains this through a particular teaching methodology used in Vedanta called Swapna Drishtanta. Imagine that you are lying in a bed and dreaming. So now think about the dream. I'm in Himalayas. I'm in Gangotri. When I look at that dream world, you see mountains, you see snow, you see water, you see temple, you see other people, you see electricity, you see sun, everything. When you are in that dream, everything is a reality for you. In the dream world, everything exists. What is the material cause by which these objects are created? In the real world, in the relatively real world, when you go to Gangotri, when you see Himalayas, what is the material used there? It is the physical matter, isn't it? But in the dream world, is that physical matter? Think through that, because we have to collectively think, then only we understand this. In the dream world, what you see is not physical matter. It is your mind stuff, if I can call that word. It is a subtle matter. It is your mind stuff. This word is coined by Swami Vivekananda to explain this. So your mind created all these things. Correct? So it is you. The mountain is created from your mind. The ocean is created from your mind. Everything you see is created based upon the stuff in your mind. When you stay in that dream world, you can go to a restaurant and have a masala dosha. You can get water and drink. You can get into a bus. You can take a flight. All that is possible. So within that dream space and time, what you have direct interaction, what you can directly touch or transact with, that is what is known as imminent. Whereas, you know that who created this is already lying in the bed. His mind created that. The point is that the creator from whom the whole dream world was created lives in a different order of reality. Am I making it very complicated? This is not that complicated. Right? The dream is in a different order of reality and the waker is in a different order of reality. So with respect to the person in the dream, the person who created this universe is lying in a bed and he lives in a different order of reality. And that is the transcendent nature. So the world we see, the sun and the moon and the stars, everything in this universe is a manifestation of God. The intelligent order that governs this universe, Ishvara, the total universe, that is also part of this order. Those are the imminent aspect of Ishvara. So the universal law, the natural law, we saw that in the 3rd chapter. Nobody can deny that. I was reading a neuroscience scientist article, not related to anything else, but God or spirituality or anything like. He was telling, can you imagine how many cells would be there in your brain? Maybe 2 billion cells. Suppose 2 billion artifacts given to you. Can you order that 2 billion artifacts and come up like a human mind, human brain? Oh my God, it's miracle. How efficiently this system is designed. It's an intelligent design. That is the intelligent order of the universe. So this intelligent order of the universe, as well as the whole material universe you see and experience, is the immanent aspect of the God. But look at that. The entire dream universe, the material cause is provided by whom? The person lying on the bed. The efficient cause is the person lying on the bed. And the intelligent cause is also the person lying on the bed. But the difference is he lives in a different order of the reality. So the world you see, along with the natural order of the universe, forms the immanent aspect of the God. So Krishna tells, I am that. But understand that I have another state also. And that state supports all these things. So now, Maya tadamidam sarvam jagada vyakta mustina. So Krishna, when he tells, in the dream world, who is the mountain? My mind. Right? Who is the water? My mind. The entire dream world you experience is my mind. In the other order. So he tells, Jagata avyakta murtinaha. So just like the person lying on the bed can say that this entire dream world is pervaded by my mind. And I am the real cause of everything. The material cause is me. The efficient cause is me. The intelligent cause is me. So Maya sarvamidam sarvam jagada avyakta murtinaha. In my unmanifest form, I pervade everything. Now he tells two more points, right? He tells Mastani sarvabhutani. Every being exists in me. So I can say that in the dream, the entire dream objects exist in me. And then the next line he tells what? Nachaham te vavastitam. I am not dependent upon them. Am I dependent upon the dream for my existence? Absolutely not. So the transcendental Ishvara is not dependent upon this world. The world may come and go, but Ishvara is not dependent upon them. But whereas the immanent world is entirely dependent upon this transcendental Ishvara or the God. We'll continue this discussion. I think we are running out of time, but look at the depth. Did I confuse all of you?
No.
So,
No.
Rajesh, I mean, like, so which one is the real world? The dream world is the real world, or this world is the real world?
So it's all relative. Nothing is real, right? Real means that should be existing in all periods of time. So if you are confused, that's fine. We are going to clarify this because this can be explained. It's not that it cannot be explained, and we can understand this. So again, look at the beauty of Vedanta, not what it teaches, but the teaching methodology. This probably is one of the best teaching methodology to understand Ishvara, this Swapna Drishtanta. So Sanjay ji, I'm going to come back to your question next week. We have to understand three orders of reality.
Sure.
One is called pradiphasikam, the other one is called vyavaharikam, and the other one is called paramarthikam. Illusionary reality, relative reality, and the absolute reality. So we are going to talk about that, and we are going to connect this teaching very well. The next, so who is God now? Is it the person, MLA like person or MP like person? No, he is the very existence of me. How can I stay separate from him? Once upon a time, right, these atheists used to challenge. I will count up to 3, the God should come in front of me. The fellow doesn't understand that he himself is the God. So when such people, the so-called rationalist, when they criticize God, please understand, what are they criticizing? They're criticizing a concept in their mind.
Yeah, the understanding of God.
Their understanding of the God. And honestly, that deserves criticism. Better not to believe in that concept. So, that's where the faith is required, right? You study first. You say that the Vedas are useless. Have you studied Veda? No. I read, somebody wrote about Veda. So that's not fair. And this is the teaching. And
So,
who can
Rajesh,
deny that? Who can deny that? Any scientist. Any scientist. That's why this Erwin Schrödinger, Oppenheimer, and even Max Planck, these people goes right into, my God, what the teaching. Anyway, sorry to take some 10 minutes extra, but this is such a wonderful teaching. Like, please try to get the depth of this teaching as much as possible.
yeah, Rajesh, quick question.
Sure.
Would you say this existence then is an imminent existence?
Absolutely. This is an imminent existence because that is the definition. Imminent is also relative. When I'm in a dream, the definition of imminent means the fellow dream fellows. So imminent means the other objects in the same order of reality. That is the definition. Transcendental means it is in a different order of reality. So I cannot pay the mortgage in the dream and get credited in the waking world. So because these are two orders of reality.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, you can't pay your mortgage in your dream and still live in your house now. Yeah.
So it's two orders of reality. That's it.
Good example.
Thanks.
Okay, so good. So we'll continue this discussion and we will try to cover up to verse 9, and then we will just dedicate one session for this reinforcement of this concept, because this is such an important topic. So Anu, could you please chant Purnamida? But please play for everybody, because we need to get out of this situation as soon as possible. So the collective prayers are going to help a lot.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi